Experts just confirmed that a hidden tribe living in Southeast Asia has evolved spleens 50% larger than normal humans, allowing children to hold their breath underwater for 5 minutes while hunting fish. Genetic testing revealed a mutation that physically changed their organs over generations of diving. This isn't an isolated case. Researchers have now found multiple populations around the world with real biological differences that give them abilities the rest of us simply cannot match. But can humans really evolve superhuman traits in just a few thousand years? And what happens if these genetic secrets could help the rest of humanity survive extreme conditions? The sea nomads. The Bajau people spend up to 5 hours a day underwater. They dive 10 to 30 meters down on a single breath, spearfishing without any equipment. They've done this for over 1,000 years. When scientists finally studied them, they found something shocking. The Bajau have spleens that are 50% larger than people living just miles away on land. The spleen stores oxygenated red blood cells. When you dive, it contracts and pushes that extra oxygen into your bloodstream. A bigger spleen means more oxygen, which means longer dives. But here's the key part. This wasn't just training. Researchers found a genetic variant in the Parade 10A gene that actually promotes spleen growth. The Bajau evolved this trait over centuries of diving. Their bodies changed at the DNA level. They also have an enhanced diving reflex. When they go underwater, their bodies automatically redirect blood away from their limbs and toward their core organs and brain. This keeps them conscious and functioning at depths where most people would black out. Then there are the Moken children of Thailand and Myanmar. Studies showed they can see twice as clearly underwater compared to European children. Their pupils constrict down to 1.9 millimeters, and they can adjust their eye lenses to 15 or 16 diopters. For reference, most people max out at around 2 to 4 diopters of adjustment. Scientists thought this might be genetic, but it turns out it's a learned skill. The Moken children train their eyes from an early age. Swedish researchers tested European children and found they could learn the same ability with practice. But the window closes after childhood. Adult eyes lose that flexibility. But what if instead of diving deeper, you went higher? So high that the air itself almost disappears. Altitude masters. The Tibetan Plateau sits at over 4,000 meters above sea level. At that height, there's about 40% less oxygen in each breath. Most people who travel there get altitude sickness within hours. Headaches, nausea, trouble breathing. The Tibetans and Sherpa people? They live there without any issues. Scientists discovered why in 2010. Tibetans carry a variant of the EPAS1 gene that they inherited from Denisovans, an extinct human species that went extinct about 40,000 years ago. This gene does something counterintuitive. Instead of producing more red blood cells to carry oxygen, it keeps their hemoglobin levels relatively low. That sounds backwards, but it works. Too many red blood cells make your blood thick and sticky, which increases the risk of clots and strokes. Tibetans avoid that problem entirely. Their bodies are more efficient with the oxygen they have. They also carry variants of the GCH1 gene, which helps regulate nitric oxide in the blood vessels. Nitric oxide causes blood vessels to expand, which improves circulation and oxygen delivery to tissues. Combined with their adapted hemoglobin levels, their cardiovascular system just works better at altitude. The results speak for themselves. Kami Rita, a Sherpa climber, has summited Mount Everest 31 times as of May 2025. He doesn't just climb faster than most people can at sea level. He works as a guide, carrying supplies and helping others while they struggle to breathe. Studies measuring VO2 max, which is how efficiently your body uses oxygen, showed Sherpas scoring around 6 to 6.7 milliliters per kilogram per minute at sea level. Elite marathon runners score in a similar range, but Sherpas maintain incredible efficiency even at 8,000 meters, where the air is too thin for helicopters to fly safely. Their success also comes from cultural knowledge. Generations of climbing experience taught them pacing strategies, safe routes, and the importance of rituals that double as rest periods. Biology and culture working together. The Tibetans aren't the only ones thriving where oxygen runs thin. Hidden in nearby valleys, an even smaller group holds on to secrets of their own. The Brogpa people. In the Ladakh region of northern India, fewer than 4,000 Brogpa people, also called Monaro, live in villages perched at extreme altitudes. They farm on thin soil where most crops would fail. They speak Brokskat, a language with fewer than 500 remaining speakers. Their culture is unique. Women wear traditional Taipi headdresses decorated with silver ornaments and orange blossoms. Every year, they celebrate the Bona Harvest Festival, a 5-day event filled with music, dancing, and community rituals that have been passed down for centuries. For years, myths circulated that the Brogpa were descendants of soldiers from Alexander the Great's army or some lost Aryan tribe. DNA studies in 2019 and 2024 put those stories to rest. The Brogpa have South and Central Asian ancestry, like their neighbors. No mysterious origins, no ancient Greeks. What makes them remarkable isn't some exotic bloodline. It's that they've survived and maintained their distinct culture in one of the harshest environments on the planet. They've preserved their language, their traditions, and their way of life while facing the same challenges as the Tibetans: low oxygen, freezing temperatures, and isolation. From freezing peaks to scorching plains. Our next group breaks every rule doctors ever taught about what you should eat. The Maasai warriors. The Maasai people of Kenya and Tanzania are famous for their jumping dance, called adumu. Young warriors compete to see who can leap the highest, often reaching 50 to 60 centimeters straight up from a standing position. They do this repeatedly, for extended periods, at altitudes around 1,500 meters. But their most surprising adaptation isn't their jumping ability. It's how they process fat. Traditional Maasai diets include 600 to 2,000 milligrams of cholesterol per day, mostly from meat and milk. That's 3 to 10 times higher than what doctors recommend. By all standard medical logic, they should have massive rates of heart disease. They don't. Studies have shown relatively low levels of cardiovascular problems in traditional Maasai populations. Genetic research found part of the answer. Many Maasai carry variants of the FABP1 gene, which affects how the body metabolizes fats. They also have high rates of lactase persistence genes, meaning they can digest milk into adulthood without any issues. Their bodies are adapted to their high-fat, milk-heavy diet. But culture matters just as much as genetics. The Maasai have been evolving their traditions in real time. In 2008, they started the Maasai Olympics as an alternative to traditional lion hunting. Young men compete in track and field events instead of killing lions to prove their bravery. The Lion Guardians program, launched in 2010, turned warriors into conservationists who protect lions rather than hunt them. They didn't abandon their culture. They adapted it to a changing world while keeping their identity intact. Speaking of breaking rules, what if you never bathed with water again? Not for days. Not for years. Ever. The Himba people. In the deserts of Namibia and Angola, water is scarce. The Himba people adapted by changing their hygiene practices entirely. Instead of bathing with water, Himba women cover their skin in otjais, a paste made from red ochre and butterfat. This mixture protects their skin from the intense sun, acting as a natural sunscreen with UV blocking properties. It also has antibacterial effects, which helps prevent infections in a place where water for washing is rare. For cleansing, they use smoke baths. They burn otjais resin, which produces aromatic smoke, and sit over the fire, letting the smoke cover their bodies. This method cleans the skin and hair without using any water. But the Himba are also known for something else. Studies on color perception. In the early 2000s, researcher Deborah Robeson worked with the Himba and found they categorize colors differently than English speakers. They have more words for shades of green and fewer distinctions for blue. When shown a circle of green squares with one blue square mixed in, many English speakers spot the blue square immediately. Himba participants often took longer because their language doesn't emphasize that particular distinction. On the other hand, they could instantly spot subtle differences in green shades that English speakers missed entirely. Their language has specific words for those variations, so they notice them faster. This doesn't mean they see colors differently at a biological level. It means language and culture shape how we pay attention to what we see. The Himba aren't colorblind. They just learned to notice different things. From deserts with no water to frozen lands where water turns to stone. And somehow, people still thrive. Arctic survivors. The Sami people live across northern Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia, in a region they call Sapmi. There are between 80,000 and 135,000 Sami people today. Many still herd reindeer, managing around 250,000 domestic reindeer in Norway alone. They follow seasonal migration patterns, moving with the herds as their ancestors did. Their traditional singing style, called joik, is deeply tied to their identity. It's not just entertainment. Studies have shown that joik singing has mental wellness benefits, helping people maintain a sense of cultural connection and emotional grounding. But the Sami have faced centuries of persecution. In the 1600s, Noadi shamans were hunted down and their sacred drums were seized and destroyed. Governments tried to erase Sami culture through forced assimilation. Even today, they face struggles over land rights and recognition. The Norwegian government issued a formal apology for historical injustices, but the fight for their rights continues. Further east in Siberia, the Saka people, also called Yakuts, live in even more extreme cold. The village of Oymyakon, in Saka territory, recorded a temperature of negative 67.7 degrees Celsius on February 6, 1933. That's one of the coldest temperatures ever recorded in an inhabited place. Nearly 500,000 Saka people live in this region. Genetic studies found they carry variants of the TBX15 and WARS2 genes, which affect how their bodies distribute fat for insulation. They also have variants of UCP genes that boost brown fat activity. Brown fat generates heat instead of storing energy, which helps them stay warm in extreme cold. Their culture revolves around adapting to the environment. They celebrate the Isyak Summer Festival, honoring the brief warm season. They drink kumis, fermented mare's milk, and they've preserved the Olonko epic poems, which UNESCO recognized in 2005 as part of humanity's intangible cultural heritage. Even their animals adapted. Yakutian horses can survive temperatures below negative 60 degrees Celsius. They endure temperature swings of over 100 degrees Celsius between summer and winter. They grow thick winter coats and dig through snow to find food. Cold climates create one kind of endurance. But in East Africa, a different adaptation produces the fastest distance runners on Earth. The Kalenjin runners. The Kalenjin people make up about 10% of Kenya's population, but they win over 80% of the nation's distance running medals. In international competitions, Kalenjin runners regularly dominate marathons and long-distance events. Please like and subscribe channel.